So welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about backlog. So what backlog I have and how do I fare up against the Gentleman of Games. So if you don't follow the Gentleman of Games, I really suggest you do. So go over and subscribe to his channel. I will leave a link down in the description. Awesome channel. Really good collection. He's a really good channel. So just go over and hit that subscribe button for me, please. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. But he made a video about backlog. So how many video games he has in his backlog, what games he's played recently to get his backlog down, and what games he's ashamed of in his backlog that he hasn't got around to playing. Now, I've reached out to him and I've asked him, does he mind me making this video, as I'm kind of stealing his thunder and trying to copy his video. But I just thought I'd do like a little battle of the backlogs to see who has the best backlog, or you know, the biggest backlog then. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to the Gentleman of Games. He's going to explain the rules of what constitutes a backlog, and then we'll go through mine.
4 things that define a backlog before we get going. First thing, you must own it. So in order for it to be in your backlog, it has to be sort of backed up. It has to be sitting there waiting to be played. Otherwise you could just sort of pick any game in the world, any one that comes in your head, think about it and go, oh, it's in the backlog. You got to own it. So for example, Nightmare Creatures 2. I didn't know Nightmare Creatures 2 was even a thing until very recently. I don't own it, but I really want to play it. But I don't own it, so therefore it's not in my backlog. If that makes sense. I'm sure that's quite an obvious one. Second one, not played it before. So as far as how I see it is, if it's in your backlog, you're waiting to experience it. So if you've played, so let's just say Fallout 3, I love Fallout 3, I'd love to play it again, but it's not really in my backlog because I've already played it and I've experienced it. But whereas maybe I've picked up a game, put it in the console for order 2-3 minutes, take a look and see what it's like. I thought, oh, that looks good. Took it out, I'll come back to that. That's fine. Or obviously, if you picked up the game and never ever took it out of the case. So you kind of played it before. Number 3, age means nothing. So it doesn't matter if you've, if you've got a copy of Mario 64 that's been sitting in a box for 25 years, you've never played it, or whether you've got Spider-Man 2 on PS5, you've had it for 2 weeks and you're just waiting for a day off work to put it in the console, still in the backlog. So age means nothing. And the 4th one, this is the important one, you must have intent to play it. So what I mean by that is when you got it, however you came about it, whether you purchased it, hunted it out in the wild, whatever have you, you are there ready to fully prepared to play it. And I've got an example of what I mean. So this is Medieval 2. I've never played Medieval 2. I played Medieval 1 when I was younger. I loved it. So I'm saving this one. Looking forward to play it. I think I'll get a bit nostalgic because I played Medieval 1. And yeah, just a game that I'm looking forward to having a go. Never played it before, so it's on the backlog. I intend on playing it. This is Rugrats Studio Tour. I didn't even know it. Not to be confused with Search for Reptar, which is an absolute banger of a game. This is Studio Tour. I didn't even know I owned this. I just looked along the shelf, saw this sitting there for this exact example. I won't probably ever play that. So it's not in the backlog. That's just in my collection. So that's in the collection. That's in the backlog. Does that make sense? I've got one more just to hammer home the point. This is Haunting Ground. I picked this up last year. Paid a fair chunk of money for this one. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm sort of saving it for... I played a lot of horror games recently, so I feel a bit burnt out on them. So I'm sort of saving this to get back in the mood, and I'm really looking forward to playing that. Bought with complete intent of playing. And this is Street Dance. God knows where this came from. I have absolutely no... I don't even think I've ever seen this game before, but it's in my collection. So that's in the collection. That's in the backlog. Make sense? I think it does. I think you know what I mean. So basically what I'm saying is this isn't a question of how many games you have in your collection that you haven't played yet, because as far as I'm concerned, a backlog does not make. So there has to be intent. So that's it. Right then. So let's get started, shall we? Right,
now that we've got the rules in place, I'm going to try and follow those as specifically as possible. I need to own the game, so I can't just pick a game out of thin air. B, I need to have full intent of playing the game. So there are some games I own which I'll probably never get around to playing, I'm not going to lie. So I do actually have to have intent to play this game. There is no age restriction on this game, so it could be a PS5 game that's 2 weeks old, or it could be a PlayStation 1 game that's 25 years old. Really doesn't matter. And lastly, I've never played the game before, so it's a game I've never experienced. So to get it out of my backlog, it is a game that I need to experience for the first time. So without further ado, let's go with the game that's been in my backlog for the longest. Now this game is Dino Crisis 2 on the PlayStation 1. I've played Dino Crisis many years ago when I was a teenager. I never got round to playing Dino Crisis 2. This is probably one of the first games I picked up when I started collecting. I think Laura actually picked this up for me. It was a charity shop find. She came back with 3 PS1 games, and this was one of them. I was over the moon. So this is probably one of the games that have been on my backlog the longest. There are a few others that are around the same sort of time, but this is the first one that springs to mind. So Dino Crisis 2, still haven't got around to playing it. So that has been on my backlog the longest. Now, a game that I have actively got off my backlog recently, Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PS4. Now, everyone's told me to play this game. I've been told for years I need to play this game. It's a masterpiece. It's the best game ever created. I just never got round to it. And looking at Google and things, it seemed a daunting task. You know, to 100% this game, you're 190 hours plus, close to 200 hours. I know I don't 100% games, but it was still a big game to get through. So, Red Dead Redemption 2, finally off the backlog, really enjoyed it. It is a masterpiece, I do agree, but it did take me around 47 hours to complete, so it was a big investment of time, but I finally done it, and that is off the backlog. Now, as for a game I'm ashamed to say that is on my backlog, I've never experienced this game, and as a series or a games franchise, I am a humongous fan. But I still haven't experienced this game, which sickens me really that I still haven't got around to it. And that game is God of War. The original God of War. I still haven't played it. I've played God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok. I played the Valhalla DLC, but I still haven't played the original trilogy. So obviously the original is one I need to play. That's why I picked this one, but I haven't even played 2 or 3 or Ascension, so I've picked this one because it's the original. So as a God of War fan, surely I should have played the original game by now. So I am ashamed to say that I haven't played the original God of War, which is really bad in my eyes. Now, for the finale, the actual number in my backlog. So I counted up every game here that I am going to have full intent on playing. Like I said, there's some that I'm never going to play. So my number for my backlog is 157. So I've got 157 games in my backlog here that I've not played yet, that I fully intend on playing. Obviously, games that are here that I've never played, I'm well into the 200s. But 157 in my backlog. Now, the gentleman of games, this was his number.
My number, I've actually got this written down right. You ready? So my backlog number is 227. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. I have no idea. That's the whole purpose of this video. I'm willing to bet it's worse than some. Probably others that have far worse. I'm hoping some have far worse. 227.
So how do you work out who wins? That's what I want to know. Is it better to have a bigger backlog? Because generally the bigger number wins. But would it be better to have a lower backlog because you've got less games to play through and it means you've played more of your games? Obviously, it depends on collection sizes. I'm assuming he has got a bigger collection than me because he's been collecting a lot longer. I've only been collecting 12 months. He's been collecting several years. So his collection is probably bigger, which would lead to a bigger backlog. So there's a few factors to throw in there. So I'm going to leave that with you guys to decide who actually wins the backlog battle. Is it the person with the biggest backlog or the lowest backlog? So I'm going to leave that with you. Thank you all for watching. It's a little bit different, a bit of fun, I thought. Thank you to the gentleman of games for allowing me to make this video and, you know, tag him in it and whatnot and use his idea. So if you could all go over, give his channel a watch if you haven't already. I'm assuming you have. If you're into retro gaming and game collecting, you've probably seen the gentleman of games. But if you haven't, go over, give him a gander and hit that subscribe button for me. That would be grand. So thank you all for watching again. I'll see you again on a Sunday's vlog. So take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Ta-ra.